So I just finished Splatoon Raiders, and I gotta say, this might be the best Splatoon game thus far. What up, it's your boy Dramo, back again with another video, and man, oh man, this video took a while. Well, not so much it took a while to make, but took a while to get to, because Splatoon Raiders is mad addicting. But yeah, I just finished the game. I think I clocked about roughly 25 hours. It's not that long. I did some co-op with a friend of mine, and I also did some, joining with some randoms online in addition to, finding some other weapons and whatnot. But yeah, I just want to have a video here when I want to gush about Splatoon Raiders for a bit and how this game not only met my expectations, but surpassed them. Okay, so to be transparent with you, this is not going to be a spoiler-filled video. I know Splatoon stories are not that in-depth overall. They're mostly bigger on expanding the lore and the world building overall of some of the characters and, just the continuity of the series since the first in 2015. But I like to talk about my experience and, just kind of the ebb and flow of the game itself. So as you've probably seen in various videos or trailers or previews or even reviews of other, outlets, this is a looter shooter, and that is correct. It is a looter shooter. I mean, obviously not just with shooting weapons, but you have your rollers, your paintbrushes, your tri-stringer, which is like a bow and arrow, and your blasters, which shoot explosions, what have you. Chargers, which are your sniper classes, your splatlings, which are just Gatling guns, you walk around and charge, and the buckets, the sloshers, you know the deal. So generally you set off in different regions of the Spiralite Islands, and this game is all about spirals, whether it comes to the Spiralite shards, which are these bluish gems you get across all these islands, and that's your main form of currency to upgrade yourself, upgrade your gadgets, to attach to your tank, and go with your weapon and loadout overall. And it's pretty much your main currency. It's part of your progression as well to upgrading aspects of your ship that your character named the mechanic, who is your character you're controlling. You can customize him, and that's who your character is. Deep Cut, which is Shiver Fry and Big Man, the main band group in the Splatoon 3 era of Splatoon. Pretty much this is a spin-off of Splatoon 3 more or less, and those mechanics as well. So it adds it helps with upgrading all sorts of things there too. You have missions where you kind of set off in a kind of more traditional level you'd get in any of the Splatoon games story modes, where you go from point A to point B, fighting different enemies along the way. Some of the platforming has been de-emphasized compared to some of those, and just less, going from certain block platforms, hitting a super jump pad, which is where you pretty much go into your squid or octoling, or I'm sorry, your octo form. You swim into a little circle and you blast off and you go to another area. The game design is definitely a bit more open. You can tell that this particular team from Nintendo, they kind of wanted to stretch out a bit, kind of use some of the Switch 2's power to its advantage. I wouldn't say it's pushing, I don't think this game is pushing the Switch 2 to the verge. I don't think it's pushing all of its limits or anything, but I do believe that with how many salmonids that pop up on screen with each wave and how chaotic it can absolutely get, yeah, it's definitely putting that power to good use. So very, very happy that this is a Switch 2 exclusive and not on Switch 1. I know there's like over 150 million Switch 1s out there. I mean, shoot, I still have my Switch 1, but it's just kind of docked and permanently shut off. But overall, it's good to have this type of title on Switch 2, and it's great to kind of showcase the type of a Splatoon game we kind of get a taste of for the future with Splatoon 4. More likely going to get announced in the next couple of years, I imagine. But yeah, maybe even next year, but I think that's too soon. 2020, I think we'll get at least the announcement of Splatoon 4. But yeah, back to Splatoon Raiders, though. I don't want to get too far off the topic here. So you'll have your levels where you go from point A to point B. You'll have your levels where you'll see these giant spiralite formations, where whichever character you have set forth with you, Shiver, Fry, and Big Man, they'll be in their little mech. They follow along with you. You can launch off of the mech as you kind of go throughout the levels, which is a mechanic from the Splatoon 3 DLC on Switch 1 called Side Order, which that was more their Nintendo's take on the roguelike spin on the Splatoon mechanics. We're getting really experimental with Splatoon gameplay nowadays. Now we have a very set in stone foundation for the mechanics. But yeah, and you also have levels where you're actually just digging into like underground sub-levels. So if you play Donkey Kong Bonanza, where you know, the gist of that game is you're progressing further and further under different layers, and you know, you might have some smaller levels. It's kind of like that. And it's also like Pikmin 2, if you're familiar with that. I would actually say it's a bit closer to Pikmin 2, where that game had a bigger focus of like underground dungeon crawling. It's not as expansive as that though, until, you know, maybe later towards the game. But yeah, usually you'll have like 3 sub-levels, various waves. Some of them you'll have one sub-level. It has a kind of a unique spin on what you have to do. You might have to fight certain enemies. There might be like a lot of one particular type of salmonid. You might have a unique kind of level design that kind of makes you think on how you would tackle fighting the salmonids. And then you also have these side levels, which I think they're optional. Yeah, I would say they're optional. I don't think they're really part of the main progression, but it's good to do them. Which is kind of like these separate levels that you can only get access to when you collect the compass in the main levels. And the compass is there to scroll over your map that you can move over. That's how you select the level and overall. And there are different compasses. There's a compass that has your typical, your red arrow for like pointing in the right direction. You have a compass that fills up with like an orange color, like the closer you get to it, and once it highlights it, you press A and you can reveal that level. And then you have some which are honestly the most tricky ones, because it doesn't explicitly tell you how to use them. So as a matter of fact, for those of y'all playing the game, you're a bit confused about the blue compasses, I would say to listen to this part closely. Basically with the blue compasses, you'll notice when you move in like a up, down, or a left, right direction, basically cardinal direction, north, south, east, west, you'll notice the blue circle in the middle kind of expand. That blue circle expands depending on the direction that you're going towards and how close you are towards the hidden island that has that side level. And basically, if you go really fast in the direction, you'll see it expand more. So the larger the blue expansion is in the blue compass, the closer in the direction you're going. So what I would recommend on how you do that is you kind of just only really use north, south, east, west directions for those compasses. Overall, it'll make it a bit easier for you. And once you notice it kind of expands more and more, you're going in the right direction. You'll just press A to do your thing. But yes, once you unlock those side levels, they're basically the closest to the story mode levels in Splatoon. I would say closer to like Splatoon 2 Octo expansion and the Splatoon 3 story mode, where you'd have some gimmick levels, as I'll call them, where you only use a specific item. And in this case, it's like a specific gadget. There's some where you may only have a splatter shot and you have to go through a maze and you have to escape these steel eel, which is a type of salmonid enemy that has like a snake-like weapon. It's pretty unique. So they can vary. I'm not going to go into all of them because it's more fun to discover them on your own and experience them. And then you'll also have some levels where, of course, you fight a boss, but I'm not going to go too deep into the bosses of this game. This Splatoon game has probably some of my favorite bosses, and very unique, and they different aspect of how to fight some of them, especially how aerial you can get in this game. And that's another thing I want to talk about. This can be a very vertical Splatoon game, and I say that because not only can you launch off of your bot buddy, which is Shiver, Fry, or Big Man, in the mech with you, and any mission, whether you're solo or you're doing co-op online or locally with friends or what have you. But there are some items you can get that can help you keep yourself in the air and you can get some more abilities to kind of increase your damage in the air, or so on and so forth. There's a lot of different little things here and there. There's a lot of stuff to tinker with and build your loadouts. It's very in depth. It kind of slowly starts you out in the first, I'm gonna say the first 25 or first 30% of the game, but once you get past the boss, it opens up farther for you. And speaking of that, so there is a certain randomization because the looter shooter, right, with the drops. I noticed personally, by the time I got to the first boss, the only weapons I was getting were like the shooter weapons, a couple rollers, a couple of octo brushes, I think one slosher, which is the bucket weapon, and I want to say one splatana. I didn't think I got any chargers or any splatlings until after that first boss. And then I believe after the first boss, or actually after a boss period, the previous levels that you went through to get to that boss, they'll unlock an even harder version of it called spicy levels. And basically spicy levels, the scenario is exactly the same, it's just the enemies are much stronger. They'll be seasoned, as they call them, which is that kind of white, salty, powdery stuff on the salmonids. It pretty much just covers their body or their head. And the more of that's on their body, the tougher they are. They kind of become more meat spongy. But I wouldn't say it's anything too tedious. You just have to keep up with your weapons, keep up with your loadouts, and you'll be good to go. Upgrade your character, and you'll be good to go. So some of the other side things you can do in the game as well is you can expand your ship area, which is essentially the hub for this game. For anyone that's played the previous Splatoon games, you'll know that you'll have a specific hub. They're usually like a little city, urban area, just it feels lived in a sense. You'll see other characters lingering about, which represent other characters that have played online recently, and you can see the little artwork and whatnot. On Splatoon 1 for the Wii U, that was probably the best because you can use the gamepad screen and just use a stylus and draw pixel by pixel, which was amazing. And I think 2 and 3, you just have to be really precise and use either control stick or the D-pad and kind of draw like that. So shout out to the Splatoon artists, the fan art fandom. Y'all are super talented, super duper talented. And I respect all the artwork you guys do from worldwide, Japan, the West world here, all over. Y'all killing it. But yes, so the hub with Splatoon Raiders, since it's a single player focused game, it's smaller than those hubs because you're just on a little, it's kind of like a little makeshift raft. It starts out really basic, but as you progress through the game and finish some of the bosses, you'll be able to spend some of your spiralite shards and some other materials you can get from enemies. Oh yeah, that's right. The enemies will drop materials, and that will be used for crafting. So there is crafting in this game. So for those that like to min-max to hell and back, you will be in heaven. I know I'm enjoying it. But yeah, and when you do that, you can add other things to the ship. You can add, ways to interact with the NPCs more, whether they be Shiver, Fry, Big Man, and add more to your gadgets, add more to your weapons, craft more things, so on and so forth. You'll also be able to expand the little training area and add little test dummies. Test dummies is like a key thing in the Splatoon franchise, where you'll always have like a little shooting range, in which is a little random alleyway or pocket of the world. Or in Splatoon 3, it's in the matchmaking hub, which is very cool. And you can just test out your weapons, check the DPS, like the damage per second, how quick things die, and other aspects that I won't delve too deeper into. But there's also some other tiny things you can do as well here and there. Definitely recommend you walk around and explore the ship to your leisure and figure out the quirks of everything it has to offer there. I did finish the final boss. I'm not going into it deeply here. But I personally think it is the best in the entire franchise thus far in the past 11 years. Incredible. And I don't think that boss would have been as feasible on Switch 1 hardware. I will say that. They'd have to change it up big time. So the co-op experience. So pretty much as you go through, after you beat the first boss, you unlock the ability to go help anyone, which is the way to kind of matchmake randomly with people, you can't really. So basically, you just go to the map menu, you press minus on your controller, and it'll just matchmake you with any other person that it's basically start a mission and hit ask for help. So it works two ways. You either start a mission and you ask for help, which there's a cooldown for it. I think it's about 20-25 minutes, which does sound long, but the way the gameplay loop is of like constantly jumping into these islands, doing the missions, getting the loot and the materials, coming back, upgrading, tinkering, rinse and repeat, that time is going to whittle away pretty quickly. But when you go help anyone that's asking for help on their system, there's no limit to that. So you can do that whenever. And the cool thing that incentivizes it is when you have once a day, you'll get like an extra bonus loot bundle, which can be like weapons, it could be a lot of spiralite shards, it could be other materials, what have you. But it is once per day and it is on a 24-hour timer as of that time when you complete the mission. So keep that in mind, but overall, it's just a bonus. You still get plenty of loot when you go on these missions with randoms online. If you want to play with friends, whether it be locally or online, there's a little computer thing on the ship you can go to. That is basically, when you have people on your friends list, you can just create a room and you can just have them jump there, and then you can just do whatever. Now they won't appear on the ship with you, kind of like they do in the Splatoon 3 way, where there's like a little hologram of your friends in the lobby. They don't do that. I kind of wish we had that in this game, but I can understand why you wouldn't, because it's a pretty small hub area. You don't really need the characters running around like that. But it would have been cool just to have that extra immersion of we're all stranded on this ship. Well, not stranded, but we're all on these random islands. But yeah, once you do that with the lobby, then anyone can choose any mission at their leisure, and you can hop in each other's games, and you can actually progress the game that way too. And one cool thing I'll say is I was playing with a buddy of mine, and he was much lower level than me, but that was just because he had gotten this game a day later, and I had already played a fair bit and was like 3 times his level. The good thing I will say for the online co-op is when you're doing missions, whether it be bosses or just enemies like that, or any of the other missions, it's kind of instanced. It's an instance thing where the salmonids will be weaker or stronger depending on your level and your difficulty. So for me, I played the game totally on survivalist, which is the hard mode. And I know there's the regular mode, I forgot what that difficulty is called, and you have the easy mode, which is called tourist, which is funny. Shout out to the memes online about tourist. But yeah. So it's pretty seamless overall. The connection was great. Did not experience any frame drops at all playing the game. I can't. If there are frame drops, they might have been so quick and I might not have noticed them, because this game can get very, very hectic very fast. Very, very, very fast. And there's a lot of different. There's more enemy types than I expected. They added new enemies. They added new like difficult tiers to some of them. Like some like the actual salmonids, the standard ones. I think they're called the chums. Yeah, the chums. They're standard standard mob enemies, and you have the bigger ones called the cohawks. Those are like the bigger, chubbier ones. They gave them both a different weapon, like a pair of tongs. They're very food themed. I just realized all the salmonids are food themed in a sense. It's very funny. And you'll notice the island names are kind of anagrams of food and things too. It's kind of funny. Splatoon always has quirky names for stuff. But yeah, a lot of the salmonids is very interesting. Some of the enemies that you do fight as like unique bosses in certain dungeons, when you go into sub-levels, they'll just appear as enemies on the map when you do the spicy mode versions of levels, or when you're late in the game. They just appear, and they're much, much stronger, and they're much harder, and they'll sometimes throw multiples of them at you, so be prepared. Be prepared. But yeah, the game gets real grimy. It can get real sweaty if you want to get into it like that. Oh man, I could go on forever and just talk about this game, but this all I'll talk about here, just kind of surface level things. Probably my favorite Splatoon game right now, I'll be honest. It's definitely my favorite Splatoon game as far as single player content. I really hope some of the things that they've introduced in this game, whether they be gadgets, or how you approach some of the salmonids in this as opposed to traditional salmon run, which is the horde mode in the other Splatoon games, because you don't have bombs. You don't have a sub weapon that's a bomb at all in this game. So some salmonids you have to approach, you have to approach them differently. Some are actually easier than their salmon run counterparts. So for those that are experienced, you can kind of think of which ones I'm talking about there, and let your imagination run wild a little bit. But yeah, overall, Splatoon Raiders has been awesome. A lot better than I expected. I'm surprised Nintendo decided to charge us cheaper. Because even though it's like a spin-off game and it's kind of its own thing, this could be a full-fledged release. I'm not saying I want them to charge $70 for it, or $60. Well, I think they do charge $60 for the physical in store. But digitally, it's $50, United States dollars. But yeah. Game is phenomenal. I really do think it should be talked about in, I guess, Game of the Year conversations as far as maybe multiplayer, things like that. So yeah, it's really, really good. Really, really, really good. So yeah, I'm gonna go back and play some more Splatoon Raiders. But yeah, thanks for watching or listening. If you're kind of treating this as like a little podcast type thing and enjoying the gameplay on the screen, if you'd like for me to talk about the game in a more spoiler way, like more in depth, talk about the bosses, the lore, the characters, things like that, please leave a comment and like the video, and go ahead and subscribe, and check out my other video where I think Splatoon Raiders is the game the Splatoon franchise needs so the game can grow to more players. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe as I said before, and tell me, how are you enjoying Splatoon Raiders? Have you finished the game? Please don't post spoilers in the comments here if you can help it. I know I can't stop y'all, but please be courteous for others randomly approaching the game and those that are brand new to the series. I do think some things deserve to remain a surprise. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.